Hello, everyone. We're going to get started. Sorry, we got the post-lunch spot. Hopefully you guys have a little bit of energy. Promise to be somewhat engaging, or as much as we can be. Thank you to Dan and the Streaming Summit team. It's really a privilege to be here. My name's Allyson Kurth, and I am the Global Director of Media and Entertainment for Braze. We work with the majority of the large streaming companies, so maybe a lot of you. And I have the privilege of helping those brands be absolutely engaging. That is our tagline over here. We really help brands turn this mountain of data that they have into first-party relationships that really drive business value. We help make marketers better. And we help make engineers and product leaders and marketers better friends and work better together. So I'm here today to talk with my friend here about igniting engagement using data, AI, and innovation. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Lwin. He's the Director of Product at Roku. Welcome, Rick. Do you mind starting with a bit about your background, your role at Roku, and why customer engagement excites you?
Sure, Allyson. Thanks for having me. So again, my name is Rick Lwin. I'm the head of product for MarTech at Roku. Super excited to be here talking about customer engagement. This is actually a passion of mine. I've spent the better part of the last 15 years working at the intersection of customer data and marketing technology and advertising technology. I was an early member of Blue Kai, which was the very first data management platform to market. We were eventually acquired by Oracle, where I helped build out the data cloud business there. I then went back to startups, and I was at a company called Action IQ, which is one of the first enterprise customer data platform companies that was out there before CDP became such an overloaded term that it is today. And then I decided I wanted to go in-house. So I found myself at Walmart, which has one of the most richest customer data sets, and I was building out their internal customer data platform. I then also expanded my role to help build out their CRM program as they launched Walmart Plus, which was a very exciting thing to do. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been at Roku building out our marketing technology stack. So that includes everything from our data to how do we utilize it to communicate and engage with our consumers across channels, to how do we conduct experimentation and integrate machine learning models and so forth. So a lot of really great topics that have to do with customer engagement. I'm hoping that we get to touch on a lot of it.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Well, let's start with data and data activation. It is no joke that streamers have a mountain of data. There's customers are engaging frequently. They're constantly viewing, and so you've got tons of viewing behavior, obviously across multiple channels on multiple devices. So capturing all of the data and then using it in a meaningful way is always the goal, but a lot of times it's challenging. So what role does data play in your customer engagement?
Yeah, I mean, data is pretty much the lifeblood of our company. And I say that because Roku has a multifaceted business model. We're selling devices, but we're also looking to drive engagement because we have a very sizable advertising business. We have our Roku channel, which is ad supported, and we help our channel partners drive subscriptions as well. So it's absolutely critical that we reach our users with the right message at the right time that's going to be the most relevant for them. So again, data is super strategic and super important for us.
Awesome. I'm having a little bit of clicker trouble here, so bear with me while I try to move the slides forward. Can you move it one more? Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so thank you for going through all of that. How do you think about and approach your data strategy as it relates to customer engagement?
Yeah, so again, we have all of these business objectives, and we look to be very use case centric. And that's kind of how we've designed our infrastructure, or we've designed our infrastructure to be flexible to support a variety of different use cases. So we might have certain use cases where we need to rely on our rich historical data. We might have some use cases that require us to respond very quickly to what the customer is actually doing. And this is a massive amount of data. So Roku has over 80 million active accounts, and that stream over 100 billion streaming hours a year. So we have to take that and be able to distill that into ways that we can utilize it for customer engagement. So we've developed a Lambda architecture that has a speed layer that allows us to take in streaming events and action or trigger different types of customer journeys and so forth. So an example of that might be somebody goes to activate their device. We want to make sure that that first message that they get after they activate happens in a timely manner. So that might go through our speed data layer. We have also a newsletter type of email that goes out once a month, informing users of what are the new content titles that have launched, and we want that to be personalized for them. That might go through our batch system. So again, we want to be flexible based on the different types of use cases that are out there.
Okay, great. Do you use data created or captured in Braze for other parts of the business?
Yeah, so actually we do. I would say we use that data in 3 primary ways. So our operations team is using the dashboards inside of Braze to have a good understanding of the health of the system. So when we see send volumes drop off day to day or click volumes, unsubscribes go up, they can react quickly, understand that there's some problem that needs to be fixed and so forth. So that's how we use it operationally. Our analytics team will use it for measurement and optimization. So what we do is we will tag our different campaigns. Like, so for example, if we have some dynamic elements within the campaign, or doing A/B testing of different creatives, we'll add metadata that informs us what variant went out to which users. That all comes back through our reporting pipeline, and then our analytics team can review that and understand what do we need to optimize for based on the different business objectives that we might have for those campaigns. Lastly, the third way we utilize data coming out of Braze is we might take those clicks, views, and opens and feed that into our machine learning models. That way our machine learning models have a 360-degree view of the customer, not just what's happening on our platform, but also how they're engaging with us on the different marketing channels.
Great. So how does Roku set itself up to not just collect the data, but then to be able to action on that data, like immediately?
Sure. So again, that real-time event pipeline is something that's really critical for how we can trigger different types of notifications that require low latency. But just strategically, it's really important that whether it is batch data or real-time data, that our marketing and operations team has self-service access to that data. What we want to do is we want to democratize the access to data so that they don't have to go back to an engineer every time that there's a new use case or a new campaign that they're looking to launch. They can access it, they can build segments, they can do targeting, and they can do personalization all on their own. And that's really important for us to continue to be very agile and reactive to what's happening with our consumers.
Great. So as you talking about being able to personalize, let's shift to personalization for a minute, specifically using AI. So for years, companies have been chasing after creating these personalized experiences, the right experience at the right time to the right customer. So customers just expect it. We're even starting to see formerly distinct lines between product and marketing blend together as it relates to personalization. So how does Roku think about personalization, and how does the product experience and the marketing work together?
So Personalization is huge for Roku. It's something that we've invested a lot into, especially in our on-platform experience. So when you go into the Roku channel, we have a grid that has personalized recommendations. There's hundreds of potential rows and content titles that a person might get as recommendations. We even personalize the left-hand navigation menu when you're on your platform. So the ordering of that and which items show up in that is also personalized. So all of that great work that we've done on the platform is something that we want to get into our customer engagement, into our marketing as well. So one of the things that we do is we actually leverage one of Braze's capabilities called connected content, which allows us to call our own back-end internal APIs at send time and get the same recommendations that a user would have gotten on the platform and load those into our email. And it happens at send time, so we know that all of those recommendations are gonna be fresh at the time the user receives those in the inbox or inside of a push notification.
Awesome. So as AI continues to be top of mind, we're seeing companies think through how to make personalization and the general execution of strategy easier with AI. What's Roku's AI strategy and where do you see the value?
Yeah, AI is obviously a very hot topic. I was on the showroom floor earlier and just about every banner has AI on it, right? And it's easy to say, hey, I want to take AI, I want to apply it everywhere. All of our communication is going to be conducted via AI. I think one of the things we realize is that it's not always realistic to do that. And it's like machine learning, AI, it's an expensive investment, right? And so I think this is where the problem identification or what you want to apply ML and AI to is extremely important. So part of our strategy is to give our marketing and our operations team amazing self-service tooling that allows them to test, learn, and iterate and figure out which problems we want to tackle. And then we can look at the experimentation results and determine which of these use cases are ripe for optimization. And that's where we point our ML resources towards. So I'll give you an example of that. Our analytics team did some really good work that said the first 30 days of a customer after they activate a device is really critical in getting them to do certain actions that will contribute to the lifetime value of the customer. So what we did within Braze is we set up a new user onboarding journey that has different objectives. So those objectives might be streaming TRC or the Roku channel for the first time. It could be using the voice search feature. It could be loading a method of payment for them to use the Roku Pay checkout process. So we have all of these different goals set up within this onboarding phase. And together, collectively, that have shown to drive incremental engagement, which ultimately leads to incremental revenue. So it's been really successful. What we're doing now is we're applying machine learning to understand what is the ideal sequence of those messages for each individual user. So each user might get a different sequencing of that message so that we can optimize the overall business outcome across our customer base.
Great, thank you. How essential is it to Roku to have solutions that are more flexible?
This again was one of our top criteria when we did our RFP for a customer engagement platform. We wanted something that had the flexibility to integrate into our own infrastructure. So Roku, we have a very significant investment in our own advertising technology stack, and looking at email or mobile communication in isolation without taking into consideration what's happening on our own platform and the advertising that the users they're getting when they're on the Roku TV would have been a huge miss. So having the flexibility to integrate into our own advertising technology stack was a complete must. And so we needed somebody that would have flexible integration patterns that we could build custom integrations to that would allow us to connect that customer journey not only on email, mobile, or paid media, but also on our own surfaces, on our own Roku platform.
Great. And so how does this enable you to be more sophisticated in your customer engagement and product strategy?
Yeah, so it opens up the ways that we can orchestrate towards certain business objectives. So for example, when we have a new title that's launching and we really want the users to view that title, we might send an email campaign to that users, introducing them to that new piece of content. And then only when that user engages with that piece of content, what we'll do is we'll trigger an advertising unit to happen the next time the user turns on their TV. So they'll get a banner ad that has the same piece of content that they've expressed interest in. Then they could click that banner ad and then finish the conversion and actually watch that piece of content. So it makes it a lot more seamless across all of those different touch points. And again, that's a very simple example, but having that connectedness across all those channels is the starting point, and then we can layer on the different levels of complexity across different use cases.
And this is the example that
This is the example
Okay.
I was just describing.
I just
right?
wanted
So,
to make sure we were talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Great. All right, well, to wrap us up, as we have a couple minutes left, can you share something that you're excited to be leaning into, or a nascent trend that you think will have a big impact on the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how nascent it is anymore, but the sphere of large language models is obviously really interesting, especially at how it might get applied into creative. It's in marketing and building a lot of these experiences that you see there. Creative can often be the bottleneck in terms of how much content can we get out there and so forth. So how large language models might apply to creatives in this industry is really interesting. And I think the barriers to making that happen are less technical at this point, but more business oriented. There's copyrights and talent approvals and so forth that need to happen to really benefit from that. But I think that is within the realm of possibilities, and I'm excited to see how that plays out and how that might help us do even better from a customer engagement strategy perspective.
Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rick, for being here. We'll be done hanging around if you guys have questions afterwards. Happy to answer them. So enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Thank you.